not like Venezuela. My name is Gabriel. I am 15 years old. I am from Venezuela, but now I live in Indiana. Back home, we never had Thanksgiving. We had Christmas with halakas wrapped in plantain leaves, with music loud and cousins running everywhere. But Thanksgiving? That was something I only saw in the movies. Big tables, giant turkeys, everyone smiling like they had no problems. My grandma always said, "Eso no es para nosotros." That is a gringo holiday. And I believed her until this year, because this year, for the first time, my family was invited to a Thanksgiving holiday in a gringo's house. It was a week before Thanksgiving. The air was sharp, cold enough to make my ears sting. At school, everyone was talking about break, football games, pumpkin pie, family coming in from other states. I didn't say much. I didn't know what to say. What did you talk about when you had never tasted turkey before? Then after class, my teacher, Mrs. Turner, pulled me aside. "Gabriel," she said with her usual warm smile, "my family would love for you and your family to join us for Thanksgiving dinner." My heart jumped. I didn't know if I should say yes or no. That night, when I told Mom, she smiled wide. "See, mijijo? They want to share with us. This is a good thing." But when Grandma heard, her lips pressed into a hard line. "No, we have our own food, our own ways. Why should we sit at a stranger's table and pretend?" Mom tried to explain, but Grandma only shook her head. She had lived 65 years in Venezuela, and even though she was here now, her heart had not crossed the border. Me? I wasn't sure which way I leaned. All week, Mom hummed when she cooked. She even bought a dress at Goodwill, blue with little white flowers. She said, "It is important to show respect when someone invites you to their table." Grandma wasn't convinced. She made her own list: black beans, rice, plantains. "We will take real food," she said. "That turkey will be dry. You'll see." I didn't argue. A part of me wanted to try the turkey, to taste the mashed potatoes Lucas kept talking about at school. But another part of me felt nervous. What if I used the fork wrong? What if I didn't like the food and they saw it on my face? What if they looked at me like I didn't belong? Sometimes America felt like that. Like a party you were invited to, but everyone forgot to explain the rules. On Thanksgiving Day, the wind was sharp, carrying the smell of leaves and wood smoke. We walked up the steps of Mrs. Turner's house, my mom holding a glass dish of arroz con leche, and Grandma holding her beans like a soldier guarding treasure. When the door opened, warmth spilled out. Candlelight, the smell of butter, cinnamon, and something roasting. Mrs. Turner's husband, a tall man with glasses, said, "Welcome. We're so glad you're here." Inside, the table looked like it had come out of a movie. Plates stacked, golden napkins folded like flowers, a giant turkey in the center. My chest tightened. I had never seen so much food at once. Grandma whispered in Spanish, "Demasiado. Too much. Who needs this much?" But Mom smiled and squeezed my shoulder. "Remember, Gabriel, be open." After we sat down, Mrs. Turner brought out something unexpected. Not food. A book. It was old with a leather cover and yellow pages. She set it at the head of the table. "Every year," she said, "before we eat, we read about the first Thanksgiving. It helps us remember where it all began." I leaned closer. The first Thanksgiving? I knew pieces, pilgrims, Native Americans, a feast, but it was all mixed in my mind with cartoons and history worksheets. Mrs. Turner's daughter, a girl about my age, began to read. Her voice was soft but strong. In the year 1621, after surviving their first hard winter, The pilgrims and the Wampanoag people gathered for a harvest feast. They gave thanks for survival, for food, and for the help they had given each other. Her words painted pictures in my head. Dark woods, men in black hats, people in buckskin, fires burning under a white sky. For some reason, it made me shiver. The reading ended. Plates were passed. The turkey was carved. Steam rose from mashed potatoes like little clouds. "Try everything," Mrs. Turner said kindly. I took a bit of turkey, some green beans, a spoonful of stuffing. Mom smiled when the sweet potatoes came with melted marshmallows on top. Grandma frowned the whole time. She pushed food around her plate and whispered, "Our beans are better." But when I bit into the turkey, something surprised me. It wasn't dry, it was soft, warm, filled with flavor. Different from the food I knew, but good in a new way. "Do you like it, Gabriel?" Mrs. Turner asked. I nodded, a little embarrassed. Yes, it's good." Everyone laughed softly, not in a mean way, but in a way that made me feel safe. That night, when I lay in bed, the pictures from the book wouldn't leave me. I dreamed of pilgrims walking through snow, their faces pale, their eyes hollow. I dreamed of fires burning in the woods, of men and women in feathers and beads watching silently from the trees. And then the turkey appeared, huge, with feathers of fire. Its beak opened and it whispered in English and Spanish at the same time. "You don't belong. This feast is not for you." I woke up sweating, my heart racing. The discussion at the table. Dinner was loud in a different way than my family's dinners. Back home in Venezuela, every meal was a storm. People talking over each other, laughter bouncing off the walls, cousins sneaking bites before the food reached the table. Here, the Turner family spoke one at a time, almost like taking turns in a game. They asked polite questions. "How long have you lived in Indiana? What food do you miss most from Venezuela? Do you like the snow?" Mom answered with her smile ready, her English smooth and careful. She said, "Yes, we miss many things, but it is good to be here, to share, to learn." Then Grandma spoke, her fork clinking hard against her plate. "In Venezuela," she said, "we have Christmas that lasts all of December. We don't need this Turkey Day." The table went quiet. I wanted to crawl under my chair. Mom touched Grandma's hand. "Mama, we can honor our traditions and also learn new ones. That's the gift of being here." Grandma didn't look at her. She muttered in Spanish, "If you try to live like them, you forget who you are." My stomach twisted. I wanted to defend Mom, but I also felt the weight of Grandma's words. Who was I becoming? A Venezuelan? An American? Could I be both? Mrs. Turner saved the silence. She smiled gently and said, "Maybe Thanksgiving can mean something different to each of us. For my family, it's about gratitude. For yours, maybe it can be about remembering home while building something new here." I exhaled slowly. That sounded possible. But that night, my mind didn't let me rest. I drifted into sleep, and the feast appeared again. The table stretched endlessly, candles burning low, shadows tall against the walls. The pilgrims sat on one side, their faces thin and pale, eyes sunken from hunger. On the other side sat the Wampanoag people, silent, their faces strong and watchful. And there, at the head of the table, was the fire-feathered turkey. Its wings beat like drums, shaking the plates, rattling the cups. "You do not belong," it hissed again, louder this time. "Your family's food is not here. Your songs are not here. You are a shadow in someone else's story. I wanted to run, but my legs sank into the floor. The pilgrims turned their heads toward me, their eyes empty. The Wampanoag lifted their hands, palms open, but I couldn't understand if it was welcome or warning. Then I saw Grandma at the table, her arms crossed. She nodded as if to say, "See? This is not for us." My chest burned. I shouted, "But I like the food. I want to belong." The turkey opened its wings wider and suddenly all the candles went out. Darkness swallowed me whole. I jolted awake, my sheets damp with sweat. The whisper still echoed in my head. You are a shadow in someone else's story. After Thanksgiving break, school felt both normal and strange at the same time. Everyone came back with stories about family gatherings, leftovers, and football. Lucas, my closest friend, waved me over at lunch. "So," he said, grinning, "did you have your first turkey coma?" I tried to laugh. "Yeah, I ate too much," but I hesitated. "I also had these dreams." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "Dreams? Like you dreaming of turkey chasing you or something?" "Sort of," I said, lowering my voice. "There was this turkey, big, with feathers of fire. It told me I don't belong, that the holiday isn't for me." Lucas blinked. Then he laughed, but not in a mean way. "Bro, that's wild. A fire turkey?" I shrugged. It felt real. And not just the turkey. I saw pilgrims and native people sitting at a table. Everyone was staring at me like I didn't fit there, like it wasn't my place. Across the table, Mia, who sat near us in English class, leaned in. "Wait, that actually makes sense." Lucas frowned. "How?" She set down her juice box. "Think about it. Gabriel's family is from Venezuela. Thanksgiving isn't part of his culture, so maybe the dream is about that, about feeling like an outsider." I looked at her, surprised. "You think so?" Mia nodded. "I felt like that my first Christmas here. My family is from Korea. Everyone at school was talking about gingerbread houses and Christmas stockings, and I didn't get it. I felt like a guest in someone else's holiday." Lucas leaned back. "Yeah, I get that. My cousin from Mexico came one year and he said the same thing. But you know what my mom told him? That Thanksgiving is about gratitude. You don't have to be born here to give thanks. You just join the table." I thought about that. Gratitude. Not about being a pilgrim or a native, not about being American or Venezuelan, just about being thankful. That afternoon, I walked home with those words in my head: gratitude, belonging. The fire-feathered turkey still scared me, but maybe it wasn't just trying to push me away. Maybe it was testing me. When I got home, Grandma was watching a telenovela, shaking her head at the screen. She didn't notice me slip past her to the kitchen, where Mom was making arepas. I told her about the dream, about what Mia said, about Lucas's cousin. She listened, her hands busy pressing the dough into round discs. "Gabriel," she said softly, "sometimes our minds make pictures of our fears. But fears can also be teachers. Maybe the dream is not saying you don't belong. Maybe it is asking, how do you want to belong?" Her words sank deep. How do I want to belong? That evening, while Mom finished cooking, Grandma sat me down at the table. Her face was serious, the kind of serious that made you sit straighter without meaning to. "Gabriel," she began, "your mother wants you to forget where you come from. But you must not. Our traditions are who we are. If you go chasing these American holidays, one day you will wake up and not recognize yourself." I stared at the table, tracing the wood grain with my finger. "But Abuela, what if it doesn't mean forgetting? What if it just means learning something new?" She shook her head firmly. New things push out the old things. Always. First, it is the turkey. Next, it is their language in your mouth until you forget ours. You think gratitude needs a holiday? No. Gratitude is every day when we eat, when we pray. Her words burned, because part of me knew she was right. But another part of me thought about Mom's smile at the Turner house, about the warmth of that table, about Lucas and Mia's words. Could it be both? Could I hold my grandmother's arepas in one hand and Mrs. Turner's turkey in the other? I went to bed heavy with questions. Sleep came fast, and with it, the fire-feathered turkey. But this time, things were different. The long table appeared again, stretching under a sky filled with stars. The pilgrims sat on one side, their pale faces thinner than before. The Wampanoag sat on the other, silent, watchful. And there at the end of the table was the turkey, its wings glowing like embers. "You do not belong," it hissed again, but the voice was softer now, almost uncertain. I clenched my fists. "No," I said, "I do belong, because gratitude is for everyone." The turkey's eyes flared. Its wings spread wider, shaking the table. "Your grandmother says you forget yourself. Is she wrong?" The pilgrims' heads turned toward me. The Wampanoag raised their palms again. I felt the same fear as before, but also something else. Strength. Behind me, I heard voices. Mia's voice. "It's about feeling like an outsider, but you don't have to stay one." Lucas's voice. "You don't need to be born here to give thanks. You just join the table." Mom's voice. "How do you want to belong?" The words wrapped around me like a shield. I looked at the turkey. I don't have to choose. I can remember Venezuela and still learn new things. I can be both. The flames in its feathers flickered. For the first time, it did not look frightening. It looked tired, almost like it was testing me all along. The Wampanoag people nodded once as though satisfied. The pilgrims bowed their heads, and the turkey slowly folded its wings, the fire fading into soft golden light. Then the table filled with food, turkey and arepas, stuffing and halakas, sweet potatoes and black beans, marshmallows and arroz con leche, all side by side. And in that moment, I felt something I hadn't before: peace. When I opened my eyes, the room was quiet. The early light of Indiana winter crept through the curtains, pale and cold. But inside me, something was warm. The fire-feathered turkey no longer haunted me. Its voice no longer told me I didn't belong. Instead, I remembered the table, long, endless, covered with food from both worlds, mine and theirs. I dressed quickly, heart still racing, and walked into the kitchen. Mom was pouring coffee. Grandma was slicing plantains. "I had the dream again," I said. Mom looked up, concerned. "The turkey?" "Yes," I said, then paused. But it was different this time. It wasn't about fear. It was about choice. I can belong to both places. Grandma frowned. "Mijo, dreams are just dreams." "No," I said, braver now. "Dreams can teach us." This one taught me that being here doesn't erase who I am. I can still be Venezuelan, but I can also learn to be American. I can be both, abuela, both. She studied me for a long moment, her knife still in her hand. For once, she didn't argue. She just set down the plantains, her eyes softer than usual. At school, I told Lucas and Mia about the dream. Lucas punched my arm lightly. "See? I told you. Fire turkey was just a test." Mia smiled. "I like that ending. Food from both cultures, side by side." That's how holidays should be. For the first time, I didn't feel like an outsider telling my story. I felt like someone carrying something new, something worth sharing. When Thanksgiving came again, things were different. This time, instead of going to someone else's house, Mom invited the Turners to ours. The table wasn't as long, but it was just as full. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, right beside black beans halakas, fried plantains, and arroz con leche. Grandma still shook her head at the turkey. But when Mrs. Turner asked for seconds of her beans, Grandma smiled for the first time in weeks. We ate, we laughed, we told stories. At one point, I caught Grandma humming softly while he's putting more food onto Mia's plate. It was small, but it was something. Now, when people ask me what Thanksgiving means, I don't talk about pilgrims or history books. I don't talk about fire-feathered turkeys or dreams. I say it's about tables, long or small, crowded or simple, where people share food and stories and a little piece of themselves. It's about being both Venezuelan and American, old traditions and new ones, because both can live at the same table. And every year, when I see the turkey on the table, I smile, because I know it is not a monster in my dreams anymore. It is a reminder that I belong.